Here we go. How are we there, guys? And welcome to what seems like it's been an age since we've been on the podcast. A lot's been happening, but we're very glad to be back. So welcome to the Smashing Crossbar Podcast. My name is Josh. Ben is here as always. Before we get too far into it, mate, we better check if everyone can hear us. So be sure to let us know you're in the chat. Say g'day. But how you been, mate? It's been a while. Yeah. Well, that's a bonus. Eh? In 6 months, I think it's been at least since I've sort of fiddled with it. So, yeah, a lot's happened since then. I've moved house. You've moved house. It's all been happening. No, they don't think they can hear you.
You are muted, Discord.
They should be able to hear you, mate. So let us know now. You can hear Ben. So yeah. Anyway, we're going to get into it. We're going to probably spend about an hour at a maximum. Tonight, we've got plenty of questions to get through. There's plenty of people on the show that want to ask a few questions. I've got plenty in my phone that you guys have sent through, so thank you for that. Before we get too far into it, big shout out to Gabrielle Mar, optometrist at Jesmond. As you can see me wearing the glasses here. For their
Mine is still packed in a box.
Yours is still packed in the box, but big shout out to those guys for their sponsorship. Without those guys and the Cafe Cafe in the top of town, which we'll make sure we let our special guests know about. Best coffee in Newcastle. Be sure to go see the Cafe Cafe, top of town. Thank you to those guys as well for jumping on board this season for a sponsorship. And, if you're a Liverpool fan, be sure to go in and check those guys. But that's not what we're here. We're not here for the Liverpool. We're not here for the Euros. As much as there's plenty going on, who would have thought we'd be sitting here in the off-season of the A-League talking ownership? So it's been an interesting 12 months, let's say that, for the Jets fans. We thought we had owners, we thought we didn't, then we didn't have owners, then we thought we did, and then we didn't. It just went back and forth for ages. We finally got there in the end. So, Maurice, welcome to the podcast, mate, and welcome to Newcastle.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks, Ben, for having me on. And let's start with a shout-out for Casey Cafe and the optometrist that looked after you and sponsored the shows. Well done, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, guys, be sure to go see him. Gabrielle Mar, optometrist at Jesmond, and the Cafe Cafe in Market Town there up the top of town. Go in there to see those guys. Let them know that I've sent you, and they'll look after you for sure. But yeah, so plenty to talk about, mate. Plenty to talk about, as we said. Welcome aboard. Long process. For us anyway. And as I said, guys, be sure, everyone in the chat, I think we've got plenty here at the moment. We've got about 15, 16 coming through in the moment. So be sure to share it around, guys. We are live, so share it. Get it out there to everyone. Get it out there to all your Jets fans and supporters, Novocastrians. So, yeah, plenty to talk about, mate. So I think the best one is let's find out a little bit about you, mate. From Melbourne, I hear.
Yes, Melbourne born and bred. Been giving the big thumbs up there. Melbourne born and bred. Football fan forever. Played a tiny bit growing up. Coached a tiny bit. Was an administrator for a tiny bit. So I've sort of done a little bit of everything. Was involved at Western United for a while and have been involved in the business of sport for a number of years. I work with some of my fellow consortium members who do own a series of sports brands. And we thought, when the opportunity came along, we had a good look at the Newcastle Jets when they were offered up probably about 9 months ago, and are really happy to have been successful through that process and looking forward to the times ahead.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We can't be any more happier. As I said, it's been a while. Fourth ownership since 2005, I guess, since we started. And yeah, look, we just want success. I think that's the biggest thing for us. So if you guys can help with that, that's all we can ask for, I guess, as fans. Is I think the biggest one as well is as Shane said, we want to thank the consortium before you guys. If it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't have been here. Cope or past COVID, I guess. So we do want to thank those guys. The clubs as well. Western United and Wellington and a few others that we won't go too far into, but we do thank them for jumping on.
Look, absolutely, they also deserve a shout out. They've ploughed in a lot of their own hard earned over the last 3 years, and have really single handedly not only kept the Jets alive, but have left a solid foundation from which the organisation we believe can grow and achieve a level of success and certainly sustainability. So they deserve a fair bit of credit for what they've done in the last 3 years.
Absolutely. Ben, have you got anything to add, mate, before we jump into some of these questions?
No, more just to echo the fact as well. We thank the previous consortium that were looking after us. That they've done a massive job, keeping us going, keeping us competitive. And aside from that, thank them very much for bringing the gold back.
Funded by gold.
After us jumping up and down for so many years about it.
Yes, funded by gold, Ben.
That's right.
100%.
Rightio, guys. Well, as I said, if you've got any added questions, feel free to whack them in the chat. Ben will be all over that. So if you've got any thrown in there. Yep, beautiful. But we've got plenty here. As I said, guys, just as well, Maurice will answer these to the best of his ability. There are a few questions there that he might not be able to go into too much detail, but, he'll do his best to give us the answers that you need. So anyway, let's get into it. The APL have said that they still need to complete a fit and proper person check and a few other checks. Have you been given a rough idea of how long this process will take?
Yeah, I was actually expecting, it's just a formality from our perspective, but I was expecting to get the APL sign off this week.
Yep.
So that'll come through any second. And then as I understand it, they package up the work that they've done, send it off to the FA, and then the FA have 20 days to turn that around. But again, we anticipate it's merely a formality, and don't anticipate any issues there.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine. Why would you try and take ownership of a club if you figured there's going to be some background issues? I
figured it's more, they're not going to give you the keys to the castle and tell everyone about it if they're just going to turn around and say no.
That's okay. We've paid May and June payroll, so that could be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Just to give everyone a bit of understanding of what that sort of is, it's pretty much, if there's any criminal records, such as convictions and so forth, false or misleading statements made or incorrect information given in applications, previous failures, and all that sort of stuff. The list, there's a massive list that you could go on and on about, but it's pretty much just making sure that essentially the money's there to pay the staff and pay everyone, and cross the I's, dot the I's, cross the T's, and all that sort of stuff. So, we couldn't imagine that come through as a failure. So, these are in no particular order as well. I've just written them as I've received them, so we might jump around a little bit. Are there plans to obtain a legitimate kit manufacturer? Now, this has been a massive issue for a couple of years regarding Legend,
Viva, Apal, they're all the same thing.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering which one to go with, and I went with Ledman, you goose. So the kitchen merch revenue must be a big income for a football club, and the current sponsor is hopeless. Their words, not mine. Overpriced and has terrible quality / designs. Thank you, Ryan, for that question. So have we signed? I know we only signed a 1 year sort of deal with them last year. Is that been sort of talked about?
Look, no, the deal is actually longer than that, but this is the last year of our arrangement with Legend. Look, I haven't had a lot to do with Legend in sort of the 6 weeks that I've been in Newcastle. But having said that, I have, and even through due diligence, we've been working on looking to acquire the Jets for about 9 months. Yep. So obviously, we went through all of the key commercial contracts that are in place with the Jets. Apparel and technical kit supplier in particular being a major one. What I can say is that the economics and commerciality of the arrangement the Jets have with Legend is a very strong one. A very strong one. Yep. In terms of service level and delivery, I understand that it's up to standard in terms of what would be expected from an apparel and technical kit partner. So it would be not unreasonable to perhaps expect that we might, given this is the last contracted year with Legend, that we may look and tender our apparel provider. And that decision, none of those decisions have been made. Yeah. But we will assess every commercial arrangement on its merits in due course, and Legend would I would anticipate that they would be one of them. But again, I just want to reiterate that they've put in front of the Jets a really good deal from a commercial and economic standpoint.
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, Josh, don't hold me to this 150%, but I think I remember us having a conversation with Laurie way back when about Legend / Viva / Appel / whatever they want to be called this year.
Yeah.
Something to do with the reason they were looking at someone during Ledman's time, but they went with Legend because it was easier to deal with somebody more locally. And at that time, Legend, whatever they wanted to be called back then, were actually giving us more than just the kits. It was training stuff. It was bibs. It was training cones. It was a whole bunch of other stuff. And that, I think, was one of the main reasons why Laurie and that did end up going with Legend.
Yeah. You are pretty much right. Yeah, that was the understanding that I got as well when we spoke to Laurie. That it as we just heard, it was a pretty no-brain deal to jump on board with them at the time.
To be fair as well, their shipping times to here to Melbourne aren't too bad either. I think when I buy a kit, I think I've generally got it within a week.
Yeah. Look, as I said, I don't think I've got too much wrong with the group, with the sponsorship and so forth. I think it's, I don't know. For me, again, I'm very much a football brain. I love my football. I support it all around the world. And you want your big clubs, and you want your club to have these big kit manufacturers. You want your Pumas and your Nikes and Adidas and stuff like that.
Pretty sure I've got a kit between the Birmingham and Jets collection that I have for just about every single kit manufacturer.
Yeah.
Known to man.
Yeah. So, as I said, it's just one of those ones, and as I said, it's nothing wrong with the question, Ryan. We do appreciate it. Everyone's going to have their problems with them. I think their sizing is a little bit, how you going? I think that's probably my worst one. You buy sort of an XL or whatever, and it is still a bit snug when, so you sort of just got to...
I'm a small or medium, depending on the manufacturer and cut.
Yeah. I feel that's something that you've got to look at, is just make sure that, they've been around for long enough. I'm sure everyone's got a shirt by now, so, the next shirt they would have bought, I'm sure they would have just gone up that little bit extra size just to cover themselves, but that's pretty much it. Their designs haven't been, they haven't been fantastic, but they haven't been absolutely terrible. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We've got them for another year, and we'll discuss that, I guess, at the end of the season, or the next season. Anyway, move on from that one. Thank you for the answering that, mate. Rightio, we've got this one here. You said in one of your interviews last week you want to strengthen the connection to the region as well as growing attendance numbers, which we agree has been a massive issue. Can you go into a little more detail regarding what ideas you might have or what you need from us as fans?
That's the crux of the whole challenge that we currently face, being the Newcastle Jets, right? So what we will try and do to the best of our abilities is bring the Jets to the community. So I would anticipate there being more visibility across the Jets organisation, and that's including players and coaches and staff, and intensify our community engagement and community programs to try and strengthen and improve the bond and connection we have with the Newcastle community. Now, the reason we would have that as one of our highest priorities is really simple, that without the community, it will be incredibly difficult to have a sustainable Newcastle Jets, right? The bottom line is we need people turning up, we need people buying tickets to games, and we need people buying memberships, and we need people being advocates for the Newcastle Jets. If the community of Newcastle and Greater Newcastle want a professional football team called the Newcastle Jets, it really is up to them to show us that's what they want, because we can't be sustainable with an average crowd of 6,000 people, right? 2018, the Jets averaged 13,000 people. Yes, we made a grand final.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, I know. Bloody bar. You wouldn't believe it. Anyway, yes, we did make. We packed McDonald Jones in the semi-final, so that's created a healthier number. But 13,000 is still more than double 6,000, which was our average this season. So it really is, up to the community to really show the football world that they want a thriving Newcastle Jets, and we'll do our best to help the community achieve that.
Yeah,
100%. And we'll be the first ones to put our hands up and say, when results don't go our way, we're a fickle fan base at the best of times. There's no shying away from that, in the fact that if we're winning games, half of Newcastle will turn up.
Yeah.
When they're not, the fingers start pointing on social media.
Yeah, look, everyone loves the winner, and
of course,
and every sporting organisation has its die-hard, rusted-on fans that are gonna turn up, right? And I'm not for 1 minute going to accuse the Newcastle community of being fickle and only attending when the team's winning. What I will try and do, we will try and do, is make that game day experience, win, loss or draw, be a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more pleasant for all those who attend, in particular the kids that you drag along to the game that may not be interested in the 90-minute game and have that attention span and desire to sit down and watch. We really need to think about game day, treat it, and it is an event and an event that we should all be proud of. And despite the result, we all want to win, but hopefully it's a pleasant enough afternoon or evening for people to say, okay, I wouldn't mind going back next week.
Yeah, right? 100%. That's something that's something that Western United have done very well.
Yeah, I think, again, the kids go free, it is a great initiative, right? I think it's really good. But I think the other thing as well is parents will pay for their child if there's something there for the kids to do. If there's something, I can remember when I was a kid and, we weren't playing at McDonald Jones Stadium back then. We were playing, I'm talking the Breakers and stuff like that. We were playing at the Greyhound track. But there was so much stuff to do for the kids, from petting zoos to, everything. Face paintings, whatever, you name it. And the kids would get it. They go, you'd line up, you go to it like they do now for the Knights, I guess. They go 2 to 3 hours before kickoff. There'd be the juniors to be playing or whatever it is, or the local, NPL side or whatever is kicking off, the women, whatever. So there'd be still the adults would be still getting their beers and everything else and their food and watching the football, but they can have that sort of time for the kids to go get their face paint and everything else. And then by the main game kickoff, their kids are fine. They've had their fun, they've had their moment, they've had their, and now it's like, right, now I can sit down and watch the game. The kids have got their...
They're half asleep in the stands by that point.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
They're knackered.
Yeah, so the kids go free thing is great, but as you said, I feel that there needs to be something added.
Yeah. Go free and get bored.
Yeah. Look, it's a great initiative as long as it's something that the club can afford to do and it doesn't delve too much into it makes it somewhat unsustainable. Let's be realistic here. The economic crisis that we're going through right now, it wasn't around when the Kids Go Free era was there. At some point, you do have to be somewhat financially responsible and realistic about it.
Yeah. Look, that's a valid point. It's a valid point, Ben. For 13 home games, yes, we're competing. Disposable income will be competing with going to the movies or going out to the park and having dinner, whatever it might be. We're competing. There's no question. And we just got to make sure that our product is up there. Now, of course, these things cost money, right? But it's chicken and egg or self-perpetuating. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Because if we get 500 more people buying a ticket to the game, right, and that would be, from 6,000 turning up to 6,500, and 500 people are going to pay $20 each, right? That's 10 grand.
Covers your costs in essence.
And 10 grand, right? I could take half of that, and I've got my face painting, I've got my petting zoo. I can pay McDonald Jones to have all the kids on the ground for half an hour after the game to have a kick. We could, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and half of it's free. Get some music involved, get some halftime entertainment. Get Danger Zone playing full blast every time we score a goal. There's so many things that I've read. In terms of the social media and the suggestions that people are making. There's so much we can do, and if doing that can get 500 more people each week or each home game buying a ticket, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine, right?
Yeah, I think again, don't quote me. This was a couple of years ago, I think it was. I was speaking to Laurie and so forth. Prices have probably gone up now with everything else. So, but you're looking at nearly roughly $10,000 to hire McDonald Jones Stadium. Roughly costs you that for a game. A couple of years ago, so you're in that sort of figure. It's not $2,000, $3,000. It's
you're in ballpark.
As I said, as part of the due diligence process, we reviewed all of the commercial contracts that are in place, and again, apparel provider is one of them, technical apparel, as well as stadium deals. And I can tell you, McDonald Jones, it ain't a bad deal compared to. I've worked at clubs that have stadium deals with Amy Park, GMHBA, Mars Stadium in Ballarat, and it's a good deal. It's a good deal. McDonald Jones are doing their best to have the Jets play there, right? I think they could do a bit better. Interestingly enough, I've got a meeting with Venues New South Wales at McDonald Jones tomorrow at 12 to discuss some of those things, but. It's a good deal. They're supporters of the Jets, no question.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. As I said, it was not saying $10,000 is expensive or not, because as you said, you can't look at your Melbourne cities and that they can't be playing at Amy Park and stuff like that.
Amy Park must be a fortune
for any cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fair bit. It's a big number just to open the doors at Amy. That's for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. So
it's a pain in the ass to get to too.
Yeah.
I prefer going to Mars. It's quicker for me to get to Mars than what it is to get to Amy Park.
Yeah. Well, one of the fascinating things, when I was speaking to the guys at McDonald Jones the other day, I just popped in for a visit, but they were saying even when the Knights play there, and they've got 20, like they had 27,000 there yesterday, right? They reckon they've done the analysis of the people that go. 7% get catch transport, and 93% of the people drive, which I actually find an absolutely fascinating stat. And I think it could be ripe for tailgating if that was possible. You know, a la NFL style in America, if everyone's driving in. And there is a pretty big car park attached, I think, to the south side of the stadium.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm guessing they park.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some tailgating, you know. Josh, you were talking about getting there a couple of hours before the game and having some fun. You know, maybe a jumping castle, a few activations for the kids.
Yep.
And, you know, get mum and dad to get the barbecues out, get the utes out and have a bit of fun before you go into the stadium might be all right.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like again, you know,
I'm not sure council will ever. I'm not sure council would ever allow it, and we've probably got liquor licensing issues. And given we're sort of in a bit of a nanny country, right? But I reckon the idea might be okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, like we're talking football at the moment, but as I said to you yesterday, you know, I was at the rugby league, and I'm not a Knights fan, right? I'm a Storm fan, and so for me as a neutral to go there 2.5 hours early, the car park was packed. There was bloody, as I said, there was petting zoos, there was, you know, raffles and deals and God knows what, and you know, not a big, you know, the whole betting side of things isn't fantastic, but there's like, you know, they had like a TAB sort of thing going on and shit like that. It was packed. There was 27,000 people there yesterday, and you talk about it, Ben. You know, where if we're losing, no one shows up. Yeah. The Knights are nowhere near the 8 at the moment, and they had 27,000 people. It was a sellout, essentially, right? It was because obviously they've got, I think they've got like 23,000 members or something like that. So obviously all the members didn't go.
We're sort of hoping. Look, we're hoping we do win. Quite often, which should resolve that issue. But one of the things. I think I've said this a couple of times, and it is a bit corny. But whilst we were going through the due diligence process, myself and one of the other owners, we went to the Melbourne City game at Amy Park.
Yep.
And I think it was the week before, Perth Glory might have been experiencing similar ownership uncertainties, and they may have just announced recently that a new owner had come in to the Glory, but they'd lost 8-0, I think, and then they lost. There was a 7-2 or 7-1, and it's like they just really given up the ghost.
Yep.
And then, you know, amidst all of this ownership uncertainty, and very senior people at the APL saying they're not going to prop up the Jets anymore, and you know they've only got a couple of weeks to sort this out. I watched a group of young men really battle against Melbourne City at Amy Park when really it would have been pretty easy to chuck it in, and a group of young coaches that inspired a group of young players. It was a 0-0 draw and a sort of rather boring game, but I've never been so emotional, because we were, you know, very close to being the preferred purchaser of the Jets, and I'm just watching these guys representing the Newcastle community in a way that everyone should have been proud of. And you know, that's sort of in the end. I said, look, there's something here, you know, and as long as our players, our men, our women, and our academy teams represent the community in the right way with the right values, and everything I've seen really points to that already being there. I think Newcastle fans, win, lose or draw, will be proud to spend 90 minutes watching their teams, you know, and the girls making the semi-final, you know. It's pretty incredible when you're ownerless, right? And you don't know if you're going to get paid next week or next month. And whether there's a future for the club. So it's pretty incredible. Like there's I can't find a reason for football fans, men and women, that why wouldn't they go and support the Jets?
Yeah.
I should have stopped watching the game and started looking up in the stands. I probably would have spotted you somewhere and known about the ownership stuff a lot earlier than what I did.
Yeah.
One of the guys has put in the chat, and this is an interesting one, right? Because you talk about how well the women did and what an unbelievable job they did, especially with Gary leaving halfway through that and everything else. They could have sort of just absolutely gone downhill, I guess. Not chucked in. I'm sure they definitely were on the right track. So probably not chuck it in, but really, I suppose, got lost in themselves. Shit, what do we do? New coach comes in, and it could have been completely different or whatever. So so good on them for succeeding, right? But one of the guys has put in the chat here, and I don't think too many people know about it. It hasn't really been said too much on the Jets Facebook page and everything else, which I thought it was a little bit weird myself. But you talk about quality and what the amount of questions I've had over the last couple of days of this is what are your thoughts on the youth, and is the youth going to be up to standard, and are we going to be up to scratch? Are they going to be good enough to play A-League and stuff like that? For everyone out there who hasn't really been following the youth system, they're currently on a 19 win streak. They are dominating at the moment, and
8 points clear.
8 points clear, right? So 19 games unbeaten,
undefeated for the season.
Absolutely. So one of the boys has put in here. Youth team boys are currently on 19 games unbeaten streak this season. Unbelievable effort under your ownership. Can we expect more exposure for them at the club? As the club doesn't promote them too much on socials currently.
Okay, that's a bit of a bifurcated question. So yes, our the socials are very thin.
Yes.
On academy related information. And news, right? So that'll be fixed. As we, again, beef up resources to really manage the academy social media accounts, and we should see some sharp improvement there pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The second part of the question is really, will we be supporting Newcastle youth and academy boys and girls? And I think you would have seen Ben Van Dorsen receiving scholarship contract and will become a full professional as of 1 July and join the A-League setup. You would have seen Alex Nunes.
That one coming out today.
On a 2-year deal. And we have one other Newcastle product, I think, in the mix over the next few weeks that may also be announced. So we understand the quality that's there from a playing point of view. We have really good quality coaches that have been nurturing and identifying that talent. Some of these boys are likely to get minutes in the A-League this year. We have a young coaching group that aren't scared to play a young kid.
Yep.
Not scared at all, right? Yep. Bring it on.
Yeah,
100%. Hey, Robbie, you got a pretty young squad. Yeah, bring it on.
Right? Nunes is going to be one to watch. I don't think he's ready yet, obviously, but I've heard out of Rob's mouth himself, he thinks he's definitely a quality player.
He's only 17 and knee high to a grasshopper. The kid's going to develop, I'm telling you.
Oh, I've seen him play. He's good to watch. Really classy, really silky. Good, really good to watch. So, sky's the limit, especially at that age, right? 17 years of age. So,
Van Dorsen was in the under-20s Australian training camp a couple of weeks ago. That went to, he missed out on the final cut that went to South America and played Uruguay and Chile. But he's on the cusp. On the cusp of national team representation. The talent's there. Yeah. It's a shame we've lost a couple of good young players in Archie and Lucas, which is a bit of a shame. But I'm not sure everyone's aware we've got 2 more good ones in the academy, and the little one. They're both very good. The little one I actually saw play the other day. He looks pretty special.
Yeah, that's it. We might have got rid of the Goodwin, but There might be, as you
We,
said, a
we
little.
didn't. Well, hold on a second.
Well, we didn't get rid of it. No.
anything,
Yeah. No,
right?
I said that the wrong way. Yeah, no. Obviously,
I had a coffee with Archie Goodwin
Yeah.
before he made his decision, and what he made a decision that he felt, and he and his family and management team felt was the best for Archie Goodwin, and we're going to support him. I'm going to watch Archie from afar, and I really hope that he achieves and really fulfills the ability that he has. Right? It's been a bit unfortunate that he's had a couple of injuries and a couple of back operations. But let's be clear, Robbie Stanton and his team have put in an incredible amount of work into Archie. He's come off 2 seasons of playing 8 games in each season. He had 20 appearances last year. And they've worked really hard to not overload Archie and make sure that his body's right and he really starts to develop some durability to enable him to take his game to the next level, right? So,
absolutely.
And let's be fair as well. You look at the production line that Adelaide have been pushing through in their A-League side. It's no mistake to, Adelaide have been doing the whole let's rely on the youth academy and push them through into the first team and move them on. They've been doing that for the past 5 years. You only need to look at players like Nestroina and Kunda to turn around and go, well, look at what they're doing, and and the Toure brothers and stuff like that. If I was Archie in that position and you're looking at a club like Adelaide that are turning around and been doing that and getting the best out of their youth to then get them an experience overseas, I probably would have been in the same boat, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, look, he's gone to a club that'll play Archie, right? Because as you said, they're really keen to invest in young talent, and he's definitely a young talent. He's also, and I didn't really. It's not something I spoke with Archie about when we caught up, but I was in a coffee shop for probably half an hour with Archie, and 10 people come up and say good day. A couple will take a photo. Everyone knows who he is. It's pretty hard for a young 19-year-old to walk around Newcastle and just be completely recognisable virtually instantly. And especially when you've had the sort of injuries that Archie's had, just a bit of anonymity and a bit of R&R and an environment where he has the ability to really get the best out of his body isn't the worst move on earth, right? I think when he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think he's thought through this pretty well. So, we certainly wish him all the best and want him to succeed, because he'll always be a Novocastrian, right?
That's right. At the end of the day, it's it. You want him to go off. You want him to enjoy his career, and hopefully it's a long one. As we've seen. A few local talent come through and their career's been cut short. Your Ben Kandarovskis and so forth. So you want to see him really succeed. And then, as you said, come back as a Novocastrian, finish his career, which a lot of players want to try and do at the back end of their career. So, get him back. And obviously after he's succeeded, played for the Socceroos and played plenty of games over in Europe, So, anyway, we'll move on. What do we got in here? Can we expect more open training sessions and pre-season games to attend this pre-season? Last couple of years have lacked that. I definitely agree with that.
Okay. It's a good question. I probably can't.
Yeah.
The answer, my answer is actually I don't know. Well, what I do know is the boys are coming in this week for their testing. They'll start training next Monday. We do have an Australia Cup game that they need to prepare for on the 24th of July in Darwin.
Yep.
Then after that, between that and the season, I'm sure there will be a series of practice games, which generally speaking, I was just overhearing some of the coaches planning for this. The Jets represent, if you look at the Northern New South Wales Football Federation, and the Jets being the only professional club representing that region, it's a pretty big area that we're representing. Yeah. So the sense I got from the team, coaching staff and management, is that, you know, we need to be represented in the community. So we're talking, you know, Coffs Harbour, Tamworth, you know, not necessarily Forbes, but, you know, all the way through the region.
Yep.
So, you know, how many games we play, you know, in Newcastle or Maitland, I'm not sure, but we'll certainly play some out in the region and try and bring as much of the Jets, men and women, to the region as we can.
Yeah.
Because the community that we represent is not just the Newcastle region. Yes, it is, but in terms of, you know, there's 90,000 kids that play football in northern New South Wales, and, you know, we need to represent them as well, being the only A-League team in the region.
Yeah, I think also to touch on that, I think I know where the question was sort of going. I know last year they played a fair few behind closed door, like pre-season games and so forth. But again, you know, I can easily answer that with, you know, it's pretty standard. You know, like it's pretty standard across the A-League to play a lot of behind closed doors. There's a lot of tinkering. There's a lot of paperwork and a lot of friggin' videos going around, and stuff that they just really want to work on close knit and so forth. So
interesting.
And then you've got the stuff that we already do. Like we generally always do the yearly run to Tamworth pre-season.
Yeah.
And then there's generally the game once every 12 months in Coffs.
Yeah. I don't think it was so much the regional side. You know, I mean, I think what we're doing there is great. You know what I mean? More pre-season, as far as I'm concerned, should be nowhere near Newcastle. You know what I mean? Like maybe one, but probably close to the season. But everything else, you know, the rust and get them out to the communities and get them out engaging with, as you said, you know, all the country sort of towns and everything else, Port Macquarie's, and, you know, Gus. You imagine taking a game back to like when Gus was here, you know, taking it back to Port Macquarie would have been nuts. You know, they love him up there. So, to answer your question as well, mate. Yeah, they do a lot of behind closed doors.
I can't comment on the closed doors. I have no idea what the coaches are cooking up from that end. I'm trying to think of a ground that you can close the doors other than McDonald Jones. It's a bit hard, right?
Yeah, it's more just, you know, that there's no spectators. You know, I mean, you can't just sort of walk in there. And they did a few of those, but it is what it is. Like it's.
Well, I just tell them Maurice said it was fine.
That's it. Oh, far out. Righty, I've got a couple more here before we get through the session. What do we got? All right, here's an interesting one. Right. So, I don't know if you've seen this the other day, Ben. How many years? Again, you know, I was part of the squadron day one, the active support, and it's been the last couple of years have been very up and down. How are you going?
Here we go.
The numbers have been terrible. It's, you know, and it's not without the guys trying their hardest. You know, it's a very young active support at the moment. So they're doing their best with what they've got. I seen the other day when I was scrolling through and making sure that, you know, if my membership had gone up in price or whatever.
I paid mine straight away this year.
Yeah. No, I just auto-renew mine. I don't even look at mine anymore. It just comes out of my bank account.
I'm in the state of mine's like $60.
Yeah, well, exactly. You should have yours next week.
Already paid for it.
Yeah, that's it. Should be on its way. Nah. But I did see in there that it says squadron supporters. Obviously, you know.
I think I brought that up to you. Are we still calling it that?
Look, it's been something that's been talked about for a couple of years. I know that Shane was very much on the bandwagon of we need to bring back the squadron. It's called Terrace Nova Castria at the moment. Me personally, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. You know, we're the Newcastle Jets. You know, we're owned now by the Maverick Group. It should, you know, the Air Force. You know, it's Newcastle Air Force. It's there, right? You know, it's just, I don't know. Everyone I speak to, you know, who have been part of watching the A-League since day one, have still call it the squadron. So the question is in here though: have you been informed of anything about the supporter group? It may not have come across your desk too much yet. As I said, we're brand new into the you're brand new into the tenure. So, but it's definitely a point where I think they want to sit down. The supporter group wants to sit down and virtually have that conversation of how we can get numbers, I guess, is the big one in there. And if you've thought of that at all in any way of helping, some way of helping out.
Yes, we have. So we are of the unanimous view that part of and we spoke about it at length earlier, part of the match day experience, that active play a really important part in that, right? They are. And as an active group, we will do our best, and hopefully our best starts well and gets better, to support an active supporter group with the resources that they need to enable them to be the best and biggest active that they can be. Now, we spend a whole lot of time getting caught up in what they're going to call themselves, and if it's not the Squadron or Terrace Nova Castro, whatever it is, that'll be their decision as to what they want to call themselves, and hopefully as a unified group they can come up with something. I think the Squadron, as you mentioned, John, it resonates with the Jets and Maverick and whatever it might be. We're near an air base, there's connection there with Squadron, but so does Fuselage. So we could change the name if we needed.
So does Danger Zone.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So
look, that's neither here nor there, but if you weren't aware, I might have mentioned it too. I've attended the fan council last Thursday. It was I attended between 6 and 7:30, and then I've got a plane out Thursday night from Newcastle Airport, and met with the fan council. And one of your fellow podcasters was there, Ferns. And I'd listened to a couple of the Jetstream podcasts, and that's probably a combo that we can all get together and talk about in terms of really trying to expand the club's reach and have a club sanctioned, have two podcasts, have a fan one and a club sanctioned one where we can really talk everything Newcastle Jets, from academy to girls to boys. Anyway, that's combo for another day.
Yeah, we'll see another that one.
But look, absolutely. I sat and listened to what the fan council wanted, what their objectives are as a council, what their goals are. Is it about the price of a ticket? Is it about what is it that you're representing here in terms of being the fan representative? And it was a good interaction. I'll be going to their next meeting, where they will sort of present some of the key goals and objectives of the fan council, and then we as a club will do our best and an ownership group to make sure that we help the fan council achieve those goals and objectives to the best of our ability. And again, similar to the game day experience, it may cost a little bit of money, but if instead of 500, if 1,000 people turn up because the tifos are cool, the pyro's unreal, the singing is infectious, then we can help provide the tools and the resources for the active to produce the tifos and have the pyro and all the things that they need to be the best active support they can be.
They say, no pyro, no party.
Too right.
I shouldn't be saying this, but I love a flare. No, it's that. The smoke.
Absolutely. Yeah. The PG rated.
We'll let those off on the march.
The ones that aren't 1,500 degrees Celsius, not those ones.
Not inside the stadium, in the march on the way.
So we're
things
pretty
like
much
the march, things like having the allocated pub to meet beforehand. I mean, that's all. As long as it's tasteful, respectful, I believe family friendly is important. That doesn't mean you can't use a swear word every now and then. I mean, it's just that's society, but it's got to be used in the right context.
Yeah.
In a unified, maybe unified's not the right word, but in a tasteful and not disrespectful and offensive way.
Absolutely. We'll see you. We'll see you at the first Coast game, March, mate. You can lead us off.
I did. Anyway, I would have told you the story on Sunday, Jay, but I did spend a little bit of time with the Western Service crew at the games.
We love them. We love them boys.
They've told me stories.
I was one of 9 behind the goal at our first ever game at Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah.
With the late Jay Sutcliffe was there as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, absolute legend.
And then I left them at half time and then sat next to Andrew Durante's family because he was getting unceremoniously booed, which I couldn't understand after 10 years of service to that
legend.
club. So I just sort of sat with Andrew's family just to provide a little bit of support for them.
Absolutely. Newcastle Jets MVP in the grand final. Absolute legend of a bloke. So, look, it's just talking. I just love talking football. It's good to be back, Ben.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
100%.
Talking some footy. So we're going to slowly wrap it up, guys. As I said, if I haven't got to your question, I do apologise. Some of the questions have sort of been answered inside a question, inside of obviously an answer. So be sure to go back and watch it if you've come in late, because there's probably a
You said you had a few tricky ones, a couple of googlies. Did you ask those? Or
what was the one you said, Ben? There was a good one that you were going to throw in.
My one was massive. Yeah. Hang on, I'll have to go back through our inbox and find it.
Yeah. I just sent it to you.
Doesn't mean you have to ask it, Ben. But I'll
ask it.
No, look, there's ones there that just, you're a week in. Let's give it a couple. Let's give it a month or so, and you'll be able to.
6 weeks, Josh. 6 weeks in, mate.
6 weeks in.
Yeah, we only announced it last week, but we've been sort of actively involved for about 6 weeks.
Yeah. So let's give it a little bit longer, and we'll get you back, and hopefully you'll be able to answer a few of them. But you got it there, Ben?
Yeah, I've got it.
Righto.
And it's a very me question.
It is
I'm going to hang up. I'm going to hang up if it's no good. I'll just hang up.
All right. So I've got, in all the media we've seen made by the club post Mavericks acquisition, you have mentioned that there is a disconnect within the community and you intend to strengthen that. This is a statement made by previous administrators, which ends turning out to be nothing but lip service. What do you intend on doing differently to make this a reality? Or is it just one of those things that people say to get supporters back on side in early stages of a new ownership?
Yeah. Well, a couple. I'll sort of.
To be fair, a lot of it you have answered already.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So, but the first thing I want to say, I don't think I'm happy to stand corrected, but I don't think I was ever quoted or ever said that the football club's disconnected with the community, right? I don't think I ever said that. What I did say, and I've said a number of times, is one of our number one priorities and pillars of our strategy for the Jets, achieving success and sustainability, is to improve the connection with the community and really improve the connection and try and connect, not necessarily that we're disconnected, right? So that's really important. And I think lip service, of course, it could be lip service. I think the proof of the pudding will be in the eating, and hopefully the people. I mean, obviously, the Greater Newcastle got 600,000 people, so I'm not sure all 600,000 are going to come across a Jets
100%. I'm pretty sure that I wrote that as well 10 minutes after I saw the initial interview with you, the announcement for you, which was the one that they did, the video that they uploaded on the Jets YouTube page. I think so. That question I probably would have phrased a hell of a lot better a week later.
Yeah, but we've already started. Like we've got a couple of initiatives. Having said that, there's a couple of things. The community program that the guys are running at the moment, which we're out all week, out at
Macquarie.
Matt Starr reeled off the schools to me today, but they're out all week.
Yep.
Especially with the players coming back. Okay. So that they reached 50,000 kids through the schools and community programs. So it's that's not a bad effort, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Given the limited resources they've got. So there is connection there. Where the connection could be strengthened is with other football clubs, and that's from MPL through to community. So I would expect there to be a tangible difference in the willingness to improve that connection with the broader footballing community. And look, at the end of the day, it also, it's really, really important that those connections are made and are strong. Otherwise, the Jets will continue to struggle, and so hopefully with time, people will see that it's not just lip service, and we are really trying, because we think that is one of the key ways that we can have a successful Newcastle Jets and a sustainable Newcastle Jets. We spent 2 hours today with Jason Hoffman and Zane from our commercial team, talking about we're going to be setting up a Jets in Business. It may not be called Jets in Business, but a Jets in Business type program where, our membership will be hopefully local Newcastle businesses. We'll run a series of networking events with some key guest speakers so everyone can get together, maybe get to do some inner sanctum type stuff, getting to hear from Rob and other coaches, and enable the businesses that join to network amongst themselves and see some value as a broader business community. So it's not just turning up at shopping centres and football clubs and getting some players to sign some autographs and kiss some babies and pat some backs, right? It'll be hopefully something that's really tangible and something that we feel will provide a really strong connection with the community, whether that be the business community or the football community or the broader punters in Newcastle.
Yeah. Now, as I said, as we could sit here, there's so many questions that we're going to get answered eventually. And look, I'll send you through a couple. Which will get answered. So as I said, guys, if it hasn't been answered tonight, don't stress. We'll get on it. We'll get him back. It's not the first and only interview. We'll get to chat with him. Just a couple of quick ones before we let you go, and obviously let everyone else go. We'll be chatting to Rob in about a fortnight. Obviously, we'll give him a bit of time to get the boys and run them through and so forth. But we'll get him on in about a fortnight. I've spoken to him, and he's happy to jump on and give us an idea of, hopefully a few more signings and so forth might happen between now and then, and give us an idea of how they're tracking and so forth. Just a couple of quick ones as well, but that you guys may not have heard or may not know about. Before we go, what do we got here? I'm just going to quickly rattle these off. Here we go. If everyone didn't know, Eli Babaj has left the club. Just want to obviously wish him the best. He obviously former player, and so he was the operations manager, and obviously he's left the club. So wish him well for whatever happens in the future. Obviously, we touched on Alex Nunes and Van Dawson coming in as scholarships. Congratulations to them. Good luck, and hopefully we'll see him run out at some point. What do we else we got? Eli Adams, obviously a new signing as well. 3-year deal. Looks the goods. Very, very quality young player. From what I've seen, obviously didn't get much of a chance at victory. Scored a goal, so hopefully we might see a little bit of a revamp and reshape, I guess, with him in the squad. I suppose the other big one we will just quickly touch on with you, mate, 20 years. 20 years for the Newcastle Jets. Massive. Thank God we got an ownership for that, because I think I said to Ben like a few months
ago. We got an ownership which allowed us to make 20 years.
I was very much just like, God, just pray for we get an ownership going into the 20 years. No disrespect to the the guys that were supporting us and backing us, but you want that sort of ownership leading into your 20-year history. I'm sure you've got plenty of big things, planned and or you're definitely going to be looking into that sort of thing, yeah? Oh, you there, mate? Oh, we might have lost him for a little bit. We'll continue on, though. But as I said, guys, it is, just touching on that 20 years of the club, so it's, big deal. Massive.
Scarves again.
Scarves are coming back, yeah, I've seen that. Scarves for the membership.
Scarves back.
A few bits and pieces as well added into the membership, so yeah, be sure to jump on board. They're out. If you auto renew, happy days. If not, what else have we got there? There was
They did send out a timeline for auto renewals and early bird prices. If you're already a member and have your stuff linked, you should have had an email.
Yeah.
Mid last week about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's dropped out there, so that's fine. If he comes back, he comes back. It's all fine. There we go. But yeah, so... Pardon?
Just like that, he's gone!
Just like that, he's gone. We're back. We're back. It's not a podcast without something going wrong. There it is.
100%.
That's why we need to...
I think it was my question.
That's why we need to get inside access so we can get hold of their good gear. As I said, guys, so there's a few bits going on there. I just want to obviously touch on as well, as we all know. Just want to thank Lucas Moragas, Brendan O'Neill, Trent Bahaja, Reno Piscopo, Jason Bahaja. How do you say that, Ben? You're good with
Batomier.
Batomier, that's the one, the French one. Daniel Steins, Archie Goodwin, Michael Weir, and Carl Jenkinson, who have all departed the club. We appreciate all that they did for the club over the couple of seasons and so forth that they were here, the games they played. Few goals between them, but yeah,
few great saves as well.
Yeah, Mickey, he'll get picked up for sure. He's a talented kid,
100%.
Really good keeper. So he'd be crazy, or no A-League team would be crazy not to have a look at him at least. So
100%.
Hopefully he gets his chance. But anyway, we'll see how we go with that. You there, mate?
Sorry, the phone shut itself.
That's all right, mate. No dramas at all.
Must be an iPhone.
Oh, mate. Nah, that's all good, mate. So we're just about to. Oh,
We're playing for Luke said Mickey signed a contract with Hume City.
He's gone back home. Of course, that was a given.
Oh yeah, I knew he was coming back home.
Yeah, but obviously Mickey is he's definitely good enough to get a contract in the A-League somewhere.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so definitely wish him luck. But as I said, everyone else, I think he's gone to Italy, I think. Trent's gone.
Serie B, I'm pretty sure it was.
Something like that. So he's gone to Italy, and if obviously O'Neill and so forth, a few of them have gone home and everything else. So, but yeah, as we said,
O'Neill's gone to Perth. Piscopo's being looked at by Victory at the minute.
Yeah. So, no, plenty. What's the go with Sinjar? Shushna. No idea. Couldn't tell you. But I don't know. Obviously, Maurice is frozen, so not too sure what's there, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, anyway, guys, we are going to wrap it there. We do appreciate everyone for jumping in tonight. A little rusty, so I'll take ownership for that.
Very.
So we do apologise for that one, but we're settled in. Obviously, I've got my space back, which is fantastic. So hopefully we'll bring you some more content more regularly. And now that we've got new owners, hopefully we'll get a little bit more promotion and a little bit more drive to get a few of the players and coaching staff and everything else on. So as I touched on, guys, stay tuned. Not next week, but the week after, we'll look at getting Rob on. So be sure to jump onto our socials, Facebook, go like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel and so forth. We're nearly at 300 YouTube followers, so we do appreciate everyone for that. Not that there's a real target for us, but it is a good achievement to see that there is nearly 300 people who do enjoy our stuff. Other than that, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get some football in this week in the Newcastle Hunter area. It's been absolutely terrible for football trying to get on. Some have played only 2 games of the season. Some have been lucky enough to play a few more, but it's just a killer. Just killing the local game at the moment. From mini roos right through to the NPL level. So many washouts, not enough grounds. So it'd be interesting to see what they do there. But yeah. Anyway, guys, we will catch you guys later. Benny, it's been a pleasure as always.
Always is, my friends. Look forward to many more.
Absolutely. We'll revamp it. We'll get it back, and we'll tee up a day that works for both of us. And yeah, hopefully we will see you guys each and every week. We do appreciate you guys for jumping in tonight. And again, we thank Maurice and the new ownership, obviously. Again, if we didn't get your questions answered, don't stress. We will get him back on, and we'll get him sorted and so forth. If you've got any more, let me know. I will send him an email and send them through to him, and get him answered. And that way, even though he might not be on, I might be able to obviously give you guys the answers that he's given me back. So Jets Youth going for 20 games unbeaten against Parramatta FC at Late Mac. Absolutely. No idea when or time or whatever, but be sure. Look it up, Google it, work it out, get down there, support the guys. It's a massive feat. So, you're right, Benny? Hearing things?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the new dog or a child that's causing trouble. Again, I'm in a new space since we last did this, so instead of being like 3 rooms away like I used to, there's only a wall now. So I can hear, and it's straight into the lounge room, so I can hear everything.
Beautiful. There you go. Sunday 5 p.m. If you aren't doing anything, rug up, get the kids rugged up and so forth if you've got them, and head down there and support the local youth Jets. They'll have food and all that sort of setup down there. So yeah. So other than that, enjoy your footy. Euros are on. Who's your prediction to win it, Benny?
Not England after last night's result.
Good boy. I was going to say...
But again, I hold no hope going into it. Off what I've seen so far, I mean, Germany played well. Everyone's got them as wrecking bowing out early, but again, Switzerland did all right against Hungary until Hungary woke up. It's hard to call.
Yeah, look, we're still going through round 1, the first games and so forth. So once that's sort of started, we'll get a good idea, I guess, of how teams perform and everything else. It's not so much about the group stage, I think Spain have got a very easy group, so they looked pretty good. Germany looked really good, but again, their group isn't spectacular. So Portugal's no different. They should dominate their group. They've got it pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, we'll wait and see. France are going to be hard to beat, though. I think you can't. You can't really rule those guys out. I think the French have, for years they've got a 22-man squad or whatever it is on a 22-man squad on top of a 22-man squad on top of a 22-man squad.
Yeah.
They've got players for days, talent that
the 3rd and 4th strings would smack a lot of Euro nations best.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think they'll be the ones to sort of beat. I think so. But yeah, enjoy your footy. Wherever it may be, TV, live, whatever. And yeah, get excited, guys. 20 years of the Newcastle Jets under new ownership, which is fantastic. And hopefully plenty more fan interaction, community support and that. But the big one from us is get your memberships. Get onto it. It's already started. If you start now, you pretty much paid. Well, I don't know how their whole process works out, but if they start the process pretty early in your monthly repayments, it's almost paid before the season starts, right? So
they're over 9 months or something.
Over 9 months, yeah. So, but if they start it sort of soonish, well, there you go. By the time you sort of get to round 1, you've probably only got a few weeks to go. Yeah. Take it easy, guys. Anyway, we'll catch you guys soon. Big thanks to Maurice. Anyway, we'll catch him again shortly, and we will see you guys on the next podcast. And as always, we hate Coast Scum.
Coast Scum.
See you guys. Take it easy, and thanks again.